Hello everyone, this is Karen.
Hey everybody, this is Shane.
Today we're looking at a lesson called Tea Supper or Dinner. And the vocabulary words are confused.
Confused.
Janet felt confused because the story had too many characters.
Term.
Term.
Notebook is a term which is used to talk about a type of computer.
You're right. Recent.
Recent.
He had no recent photos of himself.
Informal.
Informal.
It's an informal party. You don't need to dress up.
But I like dressing up.
Don't, please.
Okay, well, we're talking about tea, supper, or dinner.
Okay, so if it's 6:30 p.m.
Yes.
and you are in North America,
Yes.
what meal will you be eating?
I'll be eating dinner, of
Dinner.
course.
Right? So in Canada, it's the same as in America.
Yeah.
We just say dinner.
Dinner is a meal that you eat at night.
But in the UK, it seems to get quite complicated.
Why is that? Do they not use the term dinner?
Sometimes they will say tea,
Oh, okay.
but tea is something you drink, right?
So to them, having tea, it can't be like having dinner.
Means eating dinner. And if you say dinner, that could actually even be in the afternoon. Yeah, so I don't quite understand what's happening in the UK.
But I know afternoon tea, though.
Right?
Yeah, afternoon tea is kind of like having like a small meal, scones, cake, and have a pot of tea.
Or coffee.
That's right.
Doesn't even have to be tea, right?
You're right. Just having a small, light meal.
Oh, well, how about brunch?
Brunch would be breakfast and lunch.
How about
right?
lunch plus dinner?
Dinner?
Dinner.
Or lupper.
I would say dinner back in the US.
Really?
If I was having a late lunch or
An early dinner.
An early dinner in
And
the
late
afternoon, call that a dinner. Lunch plus dinner.
Okay. Well, anyways, it's quite interesting to learn about different terms.
Yes.
So let's enjoy today's lesson and learn more.
Okay, I'm hungry. Bye bye.
Tea, supper, or dinner. What do you call the last meal of the day? You might say dinner or supper. However, for many Brits, tea is the word of choice. Confused? Let's take a look at how these terms are used in Britain.
Welcome everyone. Today's lesson is called Tea, Supper, or Dinner. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
My name is Mike. This is an interesting question. Tea or coffee, I would think. But no,
Sure.
it's tea, supper, or dinner. Now, supper and dinner are the
They
names
mean about the same thing, right?
kind of, it's a meal, right? Normally we would say we have breakfast in the morning, lunch around the middle of the day, around noon, and then at the end of the day you might have dinner or supper. Now, for most North Americans, I'd say the words dinner and supper are kind of
Yes.
interchangeable. That's the evening meal. You eat it around 6 or 7 p.m. But if we're going to the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, over in the UK and Britain, there is some confusion between these three terms as different meals that you eat around the same time of day. That's where the confusion starts.
There you go. What do you call the last meal of the day?
Dinner.
Growing up, we called it dinner or supper. So you, kind of like me, you might say dinner or supper. No problem. You can use these two words interchangeably with me. But I am not British. I come from North America. So for the British, for Brits, word choice here is going to be confusing.
That's right. Now, it said you may say dinner or supper. We may say dinner or supper, being North Americans. However, it says, for many Brits, tea is the word of choice. Yeah, not the drink. Tea here is a meal. This is what British people will call that last meal of the day, the evening meal. So we have come up with a word that is also a question, that is also maybe a feeling. Confused? Are you confused that there are three terms for this last meal and one of them is a drink? Tea? It makes you feel all mixed up.
Do they mean tea time, maybe?
Exactly, tea time. Yeah. But it does, when you hear this and you don't really understand what's going on, I didn't know there was a difference, and why do British people use this other word? I feel like I'm all mixed up, like the information is all jumbled in my brain, and most importantly, I can't understand what is going on. That is the feeling of being confused. This adjective talks about when we have a situation that we're in the middle of, but we just don't get it. We just don't understand. Someone's got to explain it to us, make it simpler for us, or just make it go away, because it's making my head feel funny, because I feel confused. Here's a good example. Janet felt confused because the story had too many characters. If you've ever tried to explain Star Wars movies or Avengers movies to your grandmother, she might end up being quite confused, like, what's the who and the where, and I don't understand.
Boba Fett? Is that a drink or is that a character? I don't know what's going on.
Princess
I'm confused.
Leia is Iron Man's sister?
No.
Get it.
Luke Skywalker.
Oh.
They're actually twins. Let's not get off on a tangent,
Is
okay?
he a guardian of the galaxy?
No, that would be the Star-Lord and his friends there, like Rocket and those characters.
So Star-Lord is not in Star Wars?
Correct.
I'm
but
confused.
he does get into the Avengers movies, but we'll talk about that later.
But
For
when
now,
do they have supper?
For now,
Okay, sorry.
let's stick to the topic at hand.
All right.
Remember, we've got an issue here. Tea, supper, or dinner.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's take a look at how these terms are used in Britain.
Right.
Where these terms actually don't have that interchangeable meaning. Anyways, before we take a break, let's talk about this word term. Okay, a term is either a word or a group of words that either describe something or that refer to something. For example, notebook is a term which is used to talk about a type of computer. The computer isn't actually a notebook, but that's what people call that type of computer. Maybe because it looks like a notebook. Anyways, it's time for us to take a break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。同学们一定都学过早餐、午餐、晚餐的英文分别是 breakfast、lunch、dinner。不过今天的课文标题好奇怪哦，他问说 Tea Supper Dinner 你吃的是哪一餐呢？好，在北美地区 supper 跟 dinner 这两个字几乎是可以互换的，都是用来指晚餐。那么跨过大西洋来到英国之后，这个用法就不一样咯。老师用到 interchangeable 这个字，它是拼作 interchangeable interchangeable 它表示可交换的、可互换的。那么它的副词就是把 able 改成 ably， 变成 interchangeably， 它就是指可交换的、可互换的。好，老师还有提到 The Atlantic Ocean 就是指大西洋，其中的 Atlantic 它是拼作 Atlantic。好，课文提到说，对许多英国人而言，要称呼一天的最后一餐，他们首选的字是 tea。同学们有没有觉得很困惑啊？怎么用茶来称呼最后一餐呢？那我们今天的课文就是要来看看 tea、supper 跟 dinner 这些词汇在英国是怎么使用的。好，这边出现两个单字 confused， 它是形容感到困惑的。Mike 老师在解释单字时用到 jumble 这个动词表示使什么混乱，使什么杂乱，它是拼作 jumble。好，下一个单字 term 表示词汇用语。另外文中的 Brit 是指英国人、英国公民，还有用到 Britain 本来是这个地理名词，用来指英国所在的那个大不列颠岛，现在也常常用来代指英国这个国家。好，那么文中还有用到名词加上 of choice 的用法，它是指首选的什么什么，广受欢迎的什么。像 word of choice 就表达爱用的字，首选的字。接回到课文中。
Tea, supper, or dinner? Dinner. According to a recent study, over 50% of British people use this term to refer to the main meal of the day. Unlike in many other countries, dinner in the UK can mean either an evening meal or a midday one. Tea. Surprisingly, for around 1/3 of Brits, tea is an early evening meal. This is more common in the north. Also, afternoon tea is a mini meal that is made up of scones, sandwiches, or cakes along with a pot of tea.
Okay, so if you are a Brit, you might have trouble with these three terms: dinner, supper, or tea. Mike and I, no problem, but again, we're not British. Anyways, let's start with dinner, the term dinner. According to a recent study, over 50% of British people use this term to refer to the main meal of the day.
Okay,
that's pretty good.
That's the one I would use. And over 50% kind of says over half. And this is a number we can feel fairly confident in telling people and using because it's from a recent study. Someone did some research, probably got on the phone and called hundreds and hundreds of people and basically said, what do you call the final meal of the day? And more than 50% said, oh, I call that dinner. So this is a recent study. Recent, this adjective basically means just a little while in the past. Okay, so it wasn't done 10 or 20 or 50 years ago. It was done maybe last year or within a year or two. So when we talk about something that is recent, a recent event or a recent activity, a recent bit of news, it's something that you heard just in the past little while. Yesterday, last week, something like that.
Not long ago.
Not a long time ago. That's the difference. For example, he had no recent photos of himself. The only photo he has of him is from 9 years ago, and he looks a little bit different.
You can't get a new passport if you don't have recent photos of yourself.
They don't want to see a picture of you when you're 5, when you're 35.
Exactly.
It's not a recent photo.
Anyways, yes, unlike in many other countries, dinner in the UK can mean either an evening meal or a midday one.
Ooh, a lunch is a dinner.
So lunch can be a dinner? Is it because that's the main meal of the day?
I don't know.
And aren't British breakfasts known for being quite large? Couldn't a breakfast then also be the main meal of the day?
Well, if you eat eggs at noon, I guess that could be your dinner or your lunch. Now, how about tea? Now, this is a term that, of course, everyone knows of as a drink, but people who've been to the UK might know that in the late afternoon, there's also tea time or afternoon tea. That's what we're talking about here. Tea, the meal. Surprisingly, it says, for around 1/3 of Brits, tea is an early evening meal. All right, so this is about 1/3, about 33%, or 1 out of 3 people in the UK would call an early evening meal tea. And it says this is more common in the north of England. Yeah, England is a small country, but in terms of customs and language and accents when people speak, there is a lot of difference. So in the north of England, up in Yorkshire or somewhere like that, that wasn't a very good Yorkshire accent, but up there in Yorkshire, up there in Newcastle or Nottingham or places like that, people might call their early evening meal tea.
There you go. Now also, afternoon tea is a mini meal, a small meal that is made up of scones, sandwiches, or cakes along with a pot of tea. So yes, tea. It's an early evening meal, but it can also be this mini meal where you drink tea with some scones and sandwiches and maybe even some cakes. All right, folks, with that, it is time for us to take a break. But don't go away. We'll be right back soon.
根据一项最近的研究，超过半数的英国人会用 dinner 这个字来表达一天当中的主餐。可是，在英国 dinner 它可以指晚餐或是午餐诶。文中用到一个片语叫做 refer to。refer to 表示指称，用来指什么，指的是什么什么。好，那么再来看单字 recent 它是形容词，形容最近的、近期的。再来看补充单字 percent 应该很简单，就是几%的意思。还有 midday 表示中午。好，这个字呢，它常常摆在名词前面，像当我们说 the midday meal 就表示中午的那一餐，也就是午餐咯。好，课文接着提到，大约有1/3的英国人认为 Tea 是指比较早的晚餐，可是这个用法在英国的北方是比较普遍的。那至于 afternoon tea 下午茶，他们一般就是吃司康、三明治或是蛋糕，然后搭配一壶茶所组成这种小份餐点。好，文中用到 scone。Scone 就是司康，它是一种英式烤松饼。其实台湾很多面包店都有卖这种糕饼，同学们应该都有看过。好，另外补充一下 ，mini 听起来就像迷你，对不对？它就是形容小型的或是袖珍的。介跑课文中
Tea, supper, or dinner. Supper. This is the least spoken term. Supper usually means a light, informal evening meal. However, it can also refer to a snack before bedtime. When do you want to get dinner is a question that gets asked often. In Britain, as this study shows, the meaning of that question may not be as simple as it seems.
So more than 50% of people in Britain, if you were to say dinner to them, they would say, oh, that's the most important meal of the day, the most substantial meal, whether or not it's taken at lunchtime or later in the day.
Yes.
Now, tea, the situation is a little bit more complicated. Tea is never the main meal of the day, and generally it is taken around tea time in the early afternoon. I believe tea time's at 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Early. Yeah.
Anyways, next let's talk about the next term. There's dinner, tea, and then supper. And yes, supper. When I was growing up, yes, supper and dinner meant the same thing, but I have to admit this to you guys. We use the word dinner more often than the word supper, and apparently that's the case in Britain as well.
That's right, but if you heard the term supper, you would know exactly what the person was talking
100%.
about. Now, in the UK, of the three terms supper, it says this is the least spoken term. So maybe only 10 or 20% of people might use supper, but supper is basically a dinner. It says supper usually means a light, informal evening meal. So you're eating it at the same time the evening. The idea might be that supper is something that you throw together at the last minute. It's light, it's informal. Maybe you're eating a little bit of food that's left over from lunch or from the day before. But it's basically the same type of meal. Now, informal is something that we might think about when talking about meals, especially those meals that we don't prepare for, that we don't eat so much, that aren't so special or fancy.
There you go. The word informal, by the way, is an adjective. And when someone says an informal evening meal, the first thing I think is, oh, so I guess we won't be breaking out the nice tablecloth, the fine china, the nice sets of cutlery. There won't be candles lit or anything like that. We're going to throw something together casually. It won't be a super special affair at all. It'll be simple and casual. And like I said before, the word informal is an adjective. Anyways, for example, it's an informal party. You don't need to dress up. Just wear what you have on. You don't need to put on a tuxedo or a nice gown or anything like that. Dress casually.
Okay.
Anyways, now, supper. It could be that light meal that you eat around dinner time in the afternoon, late afternoon. However, though, it can also refer to a snack before bedtime, which I had never heard of. In Britain, yes, supper, it could be that snack that you eat before you go to bed. How about that?
Interesting. I guess we would call that a bedtime snack.
That's what I would call that, a bedtime snack.
But if you're in the UK and it's late, maybe 9, 10 p.m., something like that, and you have something before bedtime, you might also call that supper. Very interesting stuff. So, when do you want to get dinner is a question that gets asked often. In Britain, as this study shows, the meaning of that question, when do you want to get dinner, the meaning of that question may not be as simple as it seems. So if someone says that, when do you want to get dinner? You might say, do you mean tea, dinner? Do you mean supper? Do you mean something formal, something informal? And also it depends on what part of Britain the person you're talking to, where they come from.
And it also depends. With dinner, you're talking about, for more than 50% of people in Britain, you're talking about the most substantial meal of the day. So you could conceivably take dinner at any time of day, as long as it's going to be the biggest meal of the day.
Not breakfast, though.
Maybe if you had a big British breakfast, that could be your main meal of the day. But yeah, it would be really weird to call that dinner. Dinner when you're waking up, that sounds strange.
I think I'd just say, I'm hungry.
That's what I would do too.
Eat.
Let's dispatch with the complexity here.
I'm hungry, let's eat now.
Anyways, we'll eat later there, Mike. For now, we've got to ask and then answer the what do you think question. Mike,
yes.
Is it better to eat dinner early in the evening or later in the evening?
That's a good question. Well, I'd probably say it's better to eat dinner when you're hungry. But I think it's better to eat dinner early, since I've read in magazines and on, health websites that it's better to eat, 4 to 6 hours before you go to bed.
Okay.
So I'd say I think it's better to eat dinner early, since it gives your body time to digest the food before you go to bed.
I think that's a good idea.
You can't always do that.
To have an early dinner, digest your food, and maybe you can take a walk afterwards too and burn off some of those calories before you go to bed.
And don't have that late supper, that British late supper thing.
Cut that out.
Don't do that.
All right, folks, with that, our lesson is now in the books. We are done, and it's time for us to say bye-bye.
Take care.
刚刚说到，超过一半的英国人会用 dinner 来指一天当中最重要的主餐。好，那么 Jeff 老师这时候用到 substantial 这个字，它是拼作 substantial。substantial 可以用来形容重大的、重要的，它也可以形容大量的、可观的，或是体积大的，或者是坚固的。这个字很好用。好，课文最后提到说 supper。Supper 是最不常说的词，那它通常是指比较少量非正式的晚餐，也可以用来指睡前的点心。好，那这边用到的单字是 informal。informal 它是形容非正式的或是随意的。那其实我们也可以用 casual 这个字来表达类似的语义。Casual 表示非正式的、休闲的或是随便的。好啦，那么以上是今天的讲解，同学们别走开，马上回来哦。大家好，我是 Hanny， 欢迎收看我们的文法单元。今天要介绍的文法重点有2个，第一个是 either A or B 的用法，第二个是分数的说法。我们先来学 either A or B 的用法。either 什么什么 or 什么什么，这是配对连接词，必须连接2个词性相同的人事物。Either A or B 就表示不是 A 就是 B，A 或 B 的其中一个。例如 You can have either the ice cream or the cake for dessert。你可以选冰淇淋或是蛋糕来当甜点。哈，那可以2个都要吗？不行，只能2选1，因为你是用 either or。好，要特别注意的是，如果用 either A or B 来连接主词的时候，动词就必须配合最靠近的主词，也就是跟主词 be 一致。例如 Either you or Jamie has to take out the trash。 你或是 Jamie 其中一个人必须去倒垃圾。那例句中的动词就是要配合它最靠近的那个主词 Jamie， 所以是搭配第3人称单数动词 has。 最后我们来学分数的说法。用英文表示分数几分之几的时候，分子在前，分母在后。那分子是用基数像 1, 2, 3 等等来表达，分母是用序数像是 third, fourth, fifth 等等来表达。举例来说 1/3 就是1/3， 1/5 是1/5。好，那同学们要特别注意咯，1/2就是一半，我们就直接用 half 来表示，不能说成 1 second。 好，那么当分子大于1的时候呢，这个分母的序数必须加上 s。 举例来说 2/3， 注意到 third 后面有加 s， 变成2/3。 3/5 是3/5，那注意 fifth 后面有加 s。 好，那出一个题目给大家试试看哦。7/8猜一个成语。 答案是7上8下，哈哈哈，是不是很好笑？对不起，那是乱入的。请问7/8的英文该怎么说呢？给你4个选项哦。第一个是 8/7，第二个 8/7，第三个 7/8，第四个 7/8。动动脑想想看，想好了没？7/8你要先说7，然后那个8要用序数表示，所以答案是4/7/8。好，再来看几个重点。当分子分母是比较大的数字的时候呢，我们可以在2个数字之间加上 over 来表达，像80/57，这是比较大的数字嘛，这时候我们就用 57/80 就可以表达80/57。好，那要表达几分之几的某人或某事物，这时候可以用分数加上 of 加上名词，例如 2/3 of the students own a smartphone， 2/3的学生都拥有智慧型手机，以后全班1人1只了。好，以上是今天的重点整理，我们下次见喽，拜拜。
嘻哈里的英文用语。
Yo, Holly.
Oh man,
What's
up? Dude.
How you doing? Chilling, chilling,
Oh, yeah.
chilling. Yo, 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 yo. Welcome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is Holly speaking.
Yo, I'm Shane.
Shane. Yeah, today we're gonna teach you some real 嘻哈英文
It's hip hop style
hip hop
English.
style slang.
It's a little bit old school, right?
Yeah, 有点复古嘛。
对，可是很好用啊，我还是会用，因为我老了。
Yeah， 所以我就会叫他 Yo homie。
有 What's up, homie?
Homie.
Homie. Homie 就是兄弟的意思。
兄弟，对不对
Homie.
？OK， 就是很好的朋友，不一定真的是兄弟啦。
Yeah. I like your hair. It's
Thank
dope.
you.
It's dope.
I think my hair's dope.
Dope. 那 dope 是什么意思？
Dope 就是很酷，
很棒啊，
好吧
很酷。你知道 dope 本来的意思是什么吗
好像什么意思？
？dope 就是毒品的意思，
所以其实很酷是毒品。
就是感觉，就是给你的感觉，只是跟毒品一样，很棒。你就说哇，好酷哦。
哦，OK，
对
你可以说人家很 dope，可是不要去吸 dope。
当然啦，这是一个 word，
Yeah
就是 word。
还有呢，如果今天你问我说，哎，你在干嘛？那你会说什么？
chilling，
请问，
chilling，
就是我在放松啊，
just chilling，
随便啊
just chilling。
，Yeah，没有什么
Or
事啊。
you could tell somebody, hey, chill, chill,
啊，OK，所以不要太兴奋 ，OK。
just calm down,
Calm down.
chill.
Oh.
Yeah. Yo, that's whack.
Who you saying is whack?
I'm saying your shirt is
You're
whack.
whack. Okay,
What?
that's whack. Okay.
Your mom's whack.
Whack 很烂的。OK， 这个
Why you gotta diss me? Why you got to diss me?
这什么意思啊？
就 diss 就是 disrespect.
哦，disrespect 的短的
对，
缩写
就变成 diss.
啊，OK， 所以其实就是去侮辱别人这
Yeah,
样。
不要
OK，
不要 diss 我。
Well, I'm sorry, I'm cooler than you, so I
Not
had to
at
diss
all.
you.
My hair is much cooler. Let's do some live action.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty dope. What do
That
you
would be pretty dope,
What do you
yeah.
think? Alright.
Alright,
Alright.
let's do some
All
live
right.
action.
Peace.
Yo, what's up, homie?
Nothing. Just chilling. Hey, your shirt is pretty dope.
Thanks. Yours is pretty whack.
Why you always gotta diss me?
I'm just playing. You know I love you. Number 1, homie.
Number 2, dope.
Number 3, chill. Chillin'.
Number 4, whack.
Number 5, diss.